So we did a study looking at adherence, comparing paper versus the email interface. 48 patients were recruited from a mood disorder specialty clinic. They were randomized to the traditional paper chart or an online adaptation, and they rated for 90 days. The total number of days rated and the number of days with complete information were compared. And here's the results. And as you can see, with both the days rated and the percent complete, users of the online chart in blue rated significantly more days than users of the paper chart, the gray bar. So we knew that the email interface rating did better than the paper chart. And so the next question was, well, how good can we do? And to answer that question, we turned to the commercial literature on website development. The question of how do you get people to use websites, stick with websites, and come back to websites is literally a billion-dollar question for companies such as Google, Amazon, Yahoo, etc. An enormous amount of resources have been invested to find out what makes people stick with websites. And 4 elements seems to have come out of that literature, and that is personalization, point gathering, reward, and discovery. And I'd like to show you how we implemented each of these into the mood chart. So this is the rating email that I showed you. This is an enhanced version in which up at the top is a picture that changes monthly, reflecting the seasons, and that introduces an element of discovery. And participants can optionally enter their zip code and get a localized weather forecast, introducing personalization. This is the chart I showed you, and this is an enhanced version that introduces some point gathering, showing the total days rated and the consecutive days. If participants miss a day, the consecutive day resets to 0, and they lose all of their points. They can get their points back by going back and filling in that missing day. I mentioned that in order to see their chart, participants have to sign in. This is an enhanced sign-in screen where if they were good enough to give us complete information, they have a 50-50 chance of seeing some cute picture. And it might be interesting or funny, something that gives them a little bit of some immediate kind of reward. Do incentives matter? 490 subjects were recruited over the internet, and they were randomized to one of 4 arms. All of the incentives, all but the enhanced email, representing discovery and personalization, all except the days rated display, representing points, and all except the reward picture for complete information, representing discovery and reward, and they rated for 90 days. And here are the results, and as you can see, participants who were randomized to receive all of the incentives rated the most days, and there were statistically significantly fewer days rated for participants randomized to the other 3 arms. Okay, so finally the last part. So we've worked very hard to get these people engaged in the mood charting exercise. We've used a compulsive, addictive medium, that is email, and we've added in elements that seem to reinforce use. Can we use this engagement that we've brought about to deliver a simple therapeutic intervention? Now, before I go into that, it's probably worth mentioning that charting itself may be a therapeutic intervention. It not only helps clinicians make treatment decisions, but it can also help patients gain insight and become more active participants in their treatment. As you know, sometimes it's hard to get people to accept the fact that bipolar disorder is a chronic and recurring illness that needs ongoing treatment. And it may be that charting can help increase consciousness about that. But we wanted to go a little bit further, and we looked at stabilization of daily rhythms. And this is based on the interpersonal and daily rhythm therapy that has been developed by Ellen Frank. So those of us who treat patients with bipolar disorder know that regularity of daily activities, especially sleep, may affect mood stability in bipolar patients. Users were offered the opportunity to track the times of 5 daily activities based on the social rhythm metric 5-item version. And these 5 activities are getting out of bed in the morning, first contact with another person, starting work or school, dinner time, and going to bed at night. And this shows how that was implemented on the mood chart. For the first 7 days, there were no targets. They were simply asked to not make any changes in their daily rhythms so that we could get a baseline value. After 7 days, they were told to set targets and then try to do the activities as close to the target times as they could. And an SRM, social rhythm metric hit rate, was added to their chart, not only to show them how they were doing, but hopefully to motivate them to try to get their numbers up as high as they could. 63 users were enrolled in a single-arm study. This is some of the characteristics of the users. Most of them were female. They tended to be college educated on average, and many of them had bipolar II disorder. Inclusion criteria required at least 90 days of rating prior to enrollment, so these were among the most highly motivated of the users of the chart. The primary outcome measure was the change in the social rhythm metric after 90 days of program use. The social rhythm metric is a scale that goes from 0 to 7. And in brief, it tells you, on average, how many times per week were those 5 activities done within 45 minutes of the customary time. So to put that in perspective, you or I might have an SRM of somewhere around 5. During the week, Monday through Friday, we probably do all of those 5 activities at around the usual time, and then on the weekend, it probably breaks down to some degree. If there's an unusual day during the week, our SRM would slip below 5, somewhere between 4 and 5. And here are the results. So down at the bottom here is the week 1 baseline, and as you can see, it's about 3.5. Patients with bipolar disorder have more chaotic lives than normal people do. And then once they started attempting stabilization, one can see that over time there was a gradual increase in their social rhythm metric, and at the end of 90 days it was up to about 4.8, so essentially normal. So in conclusion, an online chart that exploits email checking behavior accumulated more data than a traditional paper chart. Regularity of use was affected by personalization, point gathering, reward, and discovery. Engagement in the charting task can be leveraged to offer patients simple therapy tools. This is a free service. It's an open source software, and so we give away the source code free to anybody who's interested. People can modify it, use it for their own purposes, and if you're interested in seeing its demo, it's at moodchart.org/demo. Thank you very much.